I dragged Nick out. So I dragged Nick out here to get some of the special tire training in, and he's going to walk you through what he's feeling right now and give you a little rundown of what he thinks of it so far for only 200 meters worth of pulling.
Oh, it's only 200 meters. Okay. Calves are burning. Certainly glutes are firing and everything like that. One of the parts that I was telling, there's a nice sand patch. I got to notice right there.
The sand's a nice reprieve once in a while.
That was nice. One of the parts that I was telling him, if you want to film me from the side real quick, I was talking just about form and running mechanics, right? So when we run uphill, one of the big mistakes that a lot of people make when going up hills,
they sit. They want to sit.
They sit. We get down in this anterior tilt position like this, and we go into it like this, right? And that's how we go up hills. Now, if I start doing this sled drag like this, instantly I'm feeling a big burn in my quads here, right? Now, if you watch any methods on any videos, any YouTube videos of good running form, good mechanics and stuff like that, they'll talk about landing underneath your center of mass, keeping your glutes active, keeping your core engaged. So this brings your pelvis into a neutral position here. And if you maintain that neutral position, you fall forward, weight yourself from that position there with the glute and the core engaged, you're weighting yourself properly. Now you're in a good position to start feeling this workout properly here in the glutes and everything like that. So I was saying, I really like this upper chest harness that he's got here versus like
because the belt normally will pull you back, and once the load is heavy and a heavy tire and the terrain's tough, like asphalt's kind of probably the second toughest terrain next to a rubber track, then it will just pull your hips back and out of the position that you don't want to be in.
And that's when I look at like the fundamentals of training and stuff like that, I'm constantly trying to get people to practice good muscular patterning, and something like this that. I was saying kudos to him as well for something that, really it's hard for me to go into a inwardly rotated shoulder position here. I'm chilling here in this externally rotated position. My chest is open. Again, something for me. I'm programming for you guys and stuff often from a desk. Shoulders are inwardly rotated or whatever. I'm in my Quasimodo posture. This is nice. It's pulling me out here, forcing me into this position. So when I'm talking about good muscular patterning or something like that, this is an excellent.
Yeah, because it's muscle memory. I mean, obviously, if you want to get good at hiking mountains or going up mountains, then you need to either go hike mountains and do it correctly, or you find something that corrects your forms and pulls you into the type of form you need for good climbing. So this tire here is a little bit heavier. So this one's a truck tire. So it's like a P275 2021. So it's about a 75-pound tire, which is the heaviest one I use basically. And this one you can't do much more than the pace Nick's doing now. I mean, you can run a little bit and he can show you, but he's going to tire pretty quick. I mean, he can get a couple hundred yards, and this pace right here probably isn't the 12-minute mile pace at best. So it's still slow, but his heart rate will go up quick. So you can get, you can get it up, but at the same time, with the weight of that tire and the terrain we got here, it's going to make it tough. So if I want to get the runners actually running, then I just have a lighter tire, which is a regular normal car tire, which is more about 35 pounds. Most runners can run at a long sustained effort around 9-minute mile pace or so with a light tire. This one you're not going to really be able to run with. Like, this is more for building like pure hiking muscles, pure climbing muscles, and getting used to that low gear climbing, but it still keeps your heart rate at the same type of aerobic level that you'd see if you were making a steep climb in a race or something.
I would absolutely agree. Yeah, it's good long slow burn exercise, man. Definitely feel my calves working. So
yeah, and again, Nick came a little, he didn't come out here with shoes on. He came in his Luna sandals, which he just did 10K over on the cliff walk in. So Nick's well versed in running with sandals, so I wouldn't recommend that most people do that. I'd recommend most people get shoes. But again, in the terrain is a big deal. So like you heard Nick say a minute ago, like the sand patches. Anytime you come across a little patch of sand, of course, it's going to pull lighter. So in terms of effort from worst to easiest, the toughest terrain is the rubber track. That's hands down. Rubber on rubber, the terrain and the friction, that's the worst. Then it goes to basic asphalt, then concrete, and then you pretty much, you get your gravel trails or grass.
What's deep sand like?
Sand is awful because it gets up inside the tire too, so you just start like picking up more weight as you go. when in the winter when it's snow on the ground, I drag this in the snow. So the first lap is rough until you get a patch, and then once you smooth it out, it's not too bad. But I got the golf course over here, so this last year we had a foot of snow, and we got it out there, and I basically got it out there. I did one loop, and then once I got the one loop in, smoothed it out, and I was good to go from there. But
I can say, you know, from doing this, this honestly feels exactly like when I close my eyes here and I picture myself, okay, I'm going up a 30% grade. It feels exactly in my calves like I'm hiking up a freaking steep climb right now.
So sometimes, like, what I'll do is I'll have my runners, some of them maybe do an hour of just straight pulling like this to just get that long low gear. But normally I program runs in with this. So like one of my staple ones will be, you know, say a half-mile pull right into a 1.5 mile, 2 mile run. I was talking about that earlier when we were doing the feed. But so it basically, once you drop this harness, and I'll have him do it when we get back towards the house, when you go into a run after pulling this, it's just like coming off a big climb, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I feel like I've got like rocket boosters on, because like here you were dragging this heavy ass tire, now you go into like high gear and you're good. But what it does is it causes you to, like, you see how Nick's pulling from the hips, like he has to pull his hips through. It brings his knees up. He has to drive with his hips. There's no way you can really move this thing effectively without driving from the hips. When you do that, it gradually starts like subconsciously forcing you to do that, and then when it basically just opens up your stride. It opens up your running mechanics.
Great for hip extension.
So a lot of people always say to me like, oh, well, do you preach the 180 steps a minute? And it's not even a matter of whether I preach it or whether I don't. It's a matter of finding ways to have runners gradually improve their efficiency and economy, which will naturally start producing a higher cadence without making them do it forcefully. Like most times when you hear the 180 thing, which isn't a bad number, but it's kind of arbitrary. Like no one really knows where that, I mean, we know where it came from. I mean, Jack Daniels, you know, the exercise physiologist, big time coach, like he basically observed some Olympics back in 84, 88 or something, and noted that basically everybody from the 800 meters to the marathon was taking 180 plus steps a minute. But what he didn't really point out, or what people seem to forget, is these guys were moving at paces of sub 4 minute mile to like 450. So most people that's out here running are nowhere close to that. So of course their cadence is going to be slower. Like have one of those runners, the elite runners, run a 9 minute mile pace and see what their cadence is. But more so, it's a matter of gradually teaching the body to start picking up the cadence without just saying, hey, go out and run 180. Because all that is problematic. If you're coming from 160 and then your coach says, hey, go run 180, well, now you're completely changing your running dynamics.
Yeah. I could say in terms of a brief note on cadence there, in efficiency, I try to teach my athletes, even when hiking, this is an observation I made at Orcas Island, was the difference between doing this and then walking along like this. Higher ground contact time, higher overall percentage of muscular use.
Right.
I'm almost doing I'm not quite lunging, but I'm doing a deeper movement. I just hit a sand patch. But doing a deeper movement each time versus if I take these smaller steps, higher cadence even when walking, lower ground contact time, overall lower volume of muscle fiber and stuff that I'm employing here.
And this comes back to that point what I was telling you before is, so let's say I program this or you program this for you runners in the future. If you said do this for an hour and they're like if you were to guess your heart rate right now, what do you think it'd probably be?
150 something.
So 150. Yeah. So for Nick, 150 is probably 7 minute mile pace, 730, somewhere around there. So he could be running right now at 730 pace, but he would be putting more pounding, more abuse on his body. So this right here is a good way to kind of recover, or also just build strength and stuff between hard workouts without the pounding. Yeah. Like, not to mention the fact that he's starting to build race-specific strength 100%. That he's going to need. So that's where this whole mileage thing I always say comes into play. Right. So if Nick did this 3 times a week, an hour a week, he's only going to get about 9 miles total for 3 hours. Now, if he went out and ran 3 hours, he'd get a marathon distance. Right. So,
but is that relevant to your
but
event?
exactly, is it relevant? One, but two, the pounding, and then three, he's still getting all the aerobic adaptations, but now he's factoring in
You guys are
strength
going to see me
as
doing a
well.
lot of tire dragging. But yeah. Oh man.
So
No,
then
it's,
another thing, like we probably won't get time to show him today, but the water running, which we might be able to, but
Right.
it's huge because that's another one there where that's where I work on cadence at, because to run in the water and actually move, you have to have a really fast cadence. So what he mentioned earlier about muscle patterning and muscle memory, you want to teach your muscles to do it on their own, not tell them to do it. Like anybody can go out and tell you to do 180 steps a minute or whatever, but you're forcing yourself to do it. You want it to be natural. You don't want to like force it. Like you want your body to just know how to do it. Like, you know, you look at any like a great pitcher and stuff. He doesn't really think, he just knows how to pitch. Like a boxer, like he knows how to throw the right punch at the right time. He doesn't have to think about it. It's reactionary. Like he does it on the fly.
You're hitting precisely on something that I read in like old Chinese philosophy that I love roping into coaching, which is that concept of like do all your thinking and your focus and training, so that when you race, forget everything.
Yeah.
Forget everything. Your body should do it naturally.
Yeah.
Which is why you focused on it so much in training.
Exactly. I mean,
100%.
you know, exactly. I mean, martial artists and stuff, they do all this stuff. You know, it's kind of like the wax on, wax off. You know, with the Karate Kid. Like, you know, he thinks he's doing like manualist labor and he's pissed off, but in reality, yeah, it's a movie, but it's the same concept.
Exact
he's
same
learning
concept.
the motions that he's going to need to combat one day. Like, you know, so it's the same stuff. And this right here, if you didn't know Nick was on level ground and pulling a tire, you'd swear he was going up an incline right now with his posture and everything else.
100%. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Cool. Yeah.
Now, what we're going to have Nick do here in just a second when he gets it back to the house is just drop it real quick and just do a 100, 200 yard run and see what he has to say about it, because I think he's going to be pretty surprised to see what happens.
Yeah. I'll tell you, it feels like a big climb.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously you have far more climbing experience than probably any normal person by any stretch. So you know what it takes to climb, and you know now that you're a coach too, and you have athletes in Nebraska or you know Texas or wherever where there's no hills or anything, you have to find something to help them out.
You're replicated, absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's great. I can feel we're talking about muscular patterning. I don't have the best muscular patterning in terms of endurance. I can feel my shoulders already wanting to go in and my waist wanting to go in. So
yeah, and if you were to do this like a full-on workout tomorrow, your lower back would probably be sore, your shoulders would be sore, because that's not a posture you're used to too often.
100%.
So now just drop the harness and take off for a little run to the end of the thing and back.
Oh, weird.
Isn't it? But now do you feel how it kind of opened everything up? And it's almost like you have an extra gear now? Like it really like...
Even walking, I feel like I've got a slightly bigger stride.
So you convert now of the tire training? Or is Lucky 13 coaching going to see a lot of this now?
We might see some tire dragging.
Joel Gatt, John Tyler, you guys, Taylor, you guys it's probably going to be on your programming soon. You can thank me.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, we'll see you.